welcome to this edition of Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and today I am here with Lauren Hard, who is the producer and creator of the television series One Tank Trips. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you tell us One Tank Trips? I have an idea of what I think it's about, but could you tell us why you created it and what the show is about?
So I created it because I wanted to fill the need to kind of want to go on a trip and discover things near you that you might have not gone out to see, and highlight local businesses. And I'm starting off with trips that you can take from New York on one tank of gas. So far I have Nyack as an episode, and then next up is Red Bank, and I'm looking to also incorporate New Paltz, which is a town in the Catskills. But so it's kind of endless. And also in Warwick, New York, there's a drive-in movie theater, so it's just like little quirky things that made me want to create it.
And is it because you've been to all of these places that made you want to create it, or was there something particular about one tank of gas that you thought, like, there are interesting things?
I haven't been to all of them. I mean, most of them I have, and maybe not all of the businesses that are highlighted. I've kind of discovered them as I'm going. Through researching and then just talking to people within the town that are like, oh, this is what's local, this is what people love that live here. So I kind of follow their lead. But I also wanted to just highlight, what makes travel so interesting, and it's mostly like finding new places that you are unfamiliar with, but a lot of times you can have that type of discovery even close to where you live.
And so when you thought about the television series One Tank Trips, did you do like the map, and then you thought, okay, a tank of gas would be 50 miles or 100 miles, or how did you actually go about deciding which towns you would visit?
I'm basing it around 300 miles, which is a little generous, but it's one, because I think my car can get further, but not everyone has such a fuel, a car that's so good on gas, I guess. So it's only one way, though, so that's what can be included. We can get up to, I think, Cooperstown on that amount of mileage. It's quite a big area that can be covered. So yeah, that is where I started off with coming up with what you could reach with one tank of gas, which is quite a bit.
Yeah, that is 300 miles. That is a lot of that's a lot of distance. And when you decide on a town, how do you go about doing it? Is it something that you're like? Is it a town that you're interested in, or is it just totally random?
It's not totally random. I mean, for Nyack, I used to go up to Piermont when I was younger, and they're neighboring towns, so I was familiar with it. And then Red Bank is a shore town, but it's got a little bit of a different vibe. Then it's more of a winter shore town, which is
really?
not,
okay.
Not necessarily a seaside or a Point Pleasant. And then it also didn't suffer as much damage, so it's the businesses are still running.
That's nice to know.
Because a lot of them are not on a boardwalk, so they're still kicking. So I wanted to highlight that. And then Cape May is an episode that I want to focus on as well, and that's a town that I've visited. So yes, most of them are places that I'm familiar with, but there's also some where I'm like, why haven't I visited that yet? So I'm interested in finding what there is to be discovered there.
And how do you go about doing that?
Well, I'll research on Yelp or even on Foursquare. Some people don't really like that app because it's gives away a little bit of your privacy, but if you hit explore on the app and then you put in what town that you want to look around, it'll show you. It comes up with a whole bunch of places that have top ratings, and then you can kind of just go from there.
So for people who don't know what Foursquare is, can you explain what it is?
Yeah, it's kind of like a game to check in at everywhere that you visit. So that's where it can get to be a little I guess of a hinge on your privacy, because you can share it as much as you want to,
right.
But some people kind of go over the top, they'll tweet out every single place where they are, and it's why are you doing that?
I have friends like that.
Yeah. I don't know. That would make me a little not nervous, but why are you sharing that much?
But it sounds like it's a good place to find out maybe restaurants or other venues that you're not familiar with if you're not
Right.
from that area.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
smaller businesses and like in Red Bank, for example, there's Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, and it's owned by
Really?
the actor Kevin Smith. So
Oh.
that comes up as one of the first suggestions on Foursquare. So it's like, right on. Like people have rated it. So
Oh, so you get the benefit of the ratings in
Yeah.
Foursquare.
right.
Now, you also mentioned Yelp.
Yes.
Can you
And that goes
explain-
by the ratings too. I mean, you kind of have to bear in mind that people, if they love it, they're going to go comment, and if they hate it, they're going to go comment, and there's not a whole lot of in between.
Okay.
But still, it gives you something to start off with.
Now, I can't remember, is Yelp all restaurants, or is it
No, it's
businesses,
all
museums,
different
everything?
businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
Like any kind of service that you want. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say that a nail salon is my destination for any of these trips, but that type of stuff is also on there as well. And yeah, any kind of service, museums, like you said, or there's some places have, the historical houses and things like that. So that would be on Yelp as well.
Okay. And once people get to, so I've decided this weekend I'm going to go on a one-tank trip. I've looked at Yelp. I've looked at Foursquare. Are there any other apps that I should be looking at?
TripAdvisor, I think, is a good
TripAdvisor.
one too. I've used that for like trips that are longer than a one-tank trip.
Okay.
More often than for local travel, but it has good ratings as well. People, that's sort of like Yelp. They have, the ratings that people leave with how their experience was.
Oh, okay. And so I've decided, using these apps and maybe other things, that I'm going to go to this destination. What do you suggest then for the people who I'm going to, I don't know, Woodstock or somewhere. What should people do after they've looked at Yelp and Foursquare and TripAdvisor? Like, what are the steps?
Well, I guess like you could there's still like guidebooks that are still out there. I think Lonely Planet is one of the better ones. Well, one of my favorites. I shouldn't say the better ones, but if there is like a more local edition. But I found that reaching out to people that are local, like if you just want to go, and maybe that's winging it too much, but for people that are more spontaneous, if you just go and you ask, like when you're in the town.
Oh, okay.
That I've gotten a lot of suggestions that way.
I mean, are you literally just walking up to people and saying, where's the best place to eat? Or are you
No,
going
like
to
I've gone into different shops and asked like what are the favorites type thing. And I mean, if you're gonna be getting permission to shoot somewhere, that's really not the best approach.
okay.
But yeah, if you were just visiting, I think if these are smaller towns, a lot of the people are closely linked, so they're familiar with one another.
Okay.
So
That's wonderful. And let's say that you have, I don't know if you've had this experience where people who on the one-tank trips are also interested in taking their children along. Is it the same? Would you suggest the exact same method?
no, I don't think so. Like I know in Nyack there was one they wanted to do, it was like a bundle, it was like a salon package with a yoga studio with I think a dinner afterward, and that would be usually for the female in a couple that would be interested in that side of things. And like,
Okay.
my cameraman was like, I'm not interested in a package like that. And I was like, ooh, that would be great. Like you get a makeover and you could go work out and then have dinner later. That's awesome. But yeah, it's definitely not everyone's one-tank trip will be the same. And there are some places that, cater more towards families. Like, I know even in Montclair, there's like a minor league baseball team that plays there. So that type of
okay.
suggestion would probably be more closely aligned with a family.
Okay. So the series one-tank trips is more in line with couples or single people, or does it matter?
I
Doesn't
would say at this point it's like couples and single people, but I mean, I will be, when I put them up, I'm putting also like suggestions that haven't quite made it into the series. Just because
Okay.
I don't know if like a little kid is going to be very excited about going to an antique shop or, a store that has like holistic medicine or something like that.
Maybe if the antique shop has like antique trains, or
Yeah.
something, or antique dolls or
No,
something
actually,
like
that might be, a good suggestion.
But then
No.
maybe the shop owner won't necessarily
Yeah,
want
I'm
it.
not sure. Depends on how antique or if it's just vintage, depending on the range of years. But yeah, you don't have to worry about any like new toys that have lead in them or anything like that.
Yeah,
the
this is
older
true.
ones that are made out of wood.
That's
Yeah.
very true. That's very true.
Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't say. I was just thinking like the china cabinet and a little.
Oh,
kid
that's right,
Might not
yes.
be the best match.
Yes, this is true. So, we have about 2 minutes left, and for this segment.
Okay.
And I would like to ask you about the show specifically. Where can people see your show?
Okay, well, it's online at this point, so it's oneTankTripsTV.com, and it's the
Okay.
number 1.
Oh, okay.
And there's another website that's agreed to distribute it as well, called Trending Shows, so it's going to be on there as well, and then it's it's on YouTube and Vimeo and all the
Oh, it is. Okay.
usual suspects.
So if people want to find your show, they would just go to, could they just do a Google search too for all
I
the
think
other
so,
ones,
but
Vimeo and?
I think your best bet would be to go to the website itself, and then you're sure that you're in the right place.
Okay. And it sounds intuitive, One Tank Trips, but did you have that in mind, like when you were creating the show, or did it just did you have in mind that you wanted to take short trips and you thought, hey, One Tank Trips? How did you come up with the name?
Yeah, I think it's just a short trip, and I just thought like there should be a certain cap on it to make it, you only have to pay this amount of money. I know gas is not super cheap at this point, but it is a lot more affordable than a plane ticket to certain places so yeah, I wanted to make it so it was like you could understand it quickly, like
Yes.
what the restrictions are on the trip. So that's why I
Okay.
decided
Well,
on the
I
name.
think the name is perfect. So
Thanks.
at this point, we're going to take a station break really quickly, and then we're going to come back and we're going to see a clip of your show. So
Okay, great.
right now you're here with Dustin. I'm Dustin, and this is Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we'll be back in a moment.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public educational and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Hi, and welcome back to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I am here today with Lauren Hard, who is the producer and creator of the television series One Tank Trips. In the first segment, we talked a little bit about the creation of your TV series, and we're going to take in a few moments, we're going to take a look at a clip. But why did you create One Tank Trips? Did you see a void in this type of traveling?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that you need to go to a travel agent at this point in time. That's probably why some of them are suffering. Like, you can look up what you want, where you want to go, and you can make your trip as affordable as you'd like it to be, all on your own. So, I mean, I wanted to kind of highlight that type of, travel by how you can find these different things all yourself without relying on someone else. And I found, like, when I've traveled, I could just look up, like if there's a package to go visit somewhere, and then you just look it up, that particular package, and you can usually find it a lot cheaper than your first offer.
Oh, right.
Like,
Okay.
when I was visiting Cancun, I wanted to go to see the ruins, to Chichen Itza, and in the lobby of our hotel, they were like, oh, it's this amount of money, and like, that was not the offer that we ended up taking, because, yeah, if you just look for yourself. So it's kind of based on that mentality where I was like, I'm not going to accept like the first offer for anything. So to kind of show that you can go off the beaten path and find things. Not that I rented a car and drove out there, because that's like completely off the beaten path. I know some people want to do that, but this was still like an organized tour. But yeah, I just wanted to show that you can kind of discover your own adventure, not necessarily going by like the first guidance that you receive.
That's a great observation, because it leads me to think that, are you doing a lot of your investigation? That's not the right word, but are you finding out a lot about many of these trips or sites online, or how does it work out? I know you've used apps, but in
Yeah.
addition to the apps, is it pretty much strictly Lonely Planets, which you mentioned?
Yeah, well, I
And,
just like their guidebooks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a lot of it is online because there's so many websites and apps. Well, I mean, Yelp and TripAdvisor go hand in hand with their websites as well, and that's gives like a lot of feedback what people think about it. And I don't think that was ever available before.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could just go by what one guidebook said, and that was kind of it.
That's right.
But or you would go to the library and get the book, and that's kind of all you had. And I mean, that's great to a certain extent to like research where you're going, but if it's not like a huge trip, I almost think you don't have to do all that
Right.
kind of preparation. So yeah, like online, and then even on Facebook, the ratings are integrated now too for a lot of the businesses.
Oh,
so if you look up
oh.
different towns, it'll like show you what's there, and then like Wikipedia is plugged in too. So if you're like
Oh,
wondering
that's
what
true.
famous people were born there, you can find that out too.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like kind of all in one spot.
Okay, so basically, if you're using the internet, in addition to the apps that you mentioned, and of course Wikipedia and TripAdvisor and things like that, is that how you basically like? So, if, for example, if you wanted to go to somewhere upstate, like to some yoga retreat, and you wanted to go somewhere in upstate New York, like how would you even go about doing that? Like, what would be your plan of attack?
I would say that I would probably ask someone local like what they suggested, just because you can look it up, but you kind of want to get like the sign off from a yoga teacher or someone that really knows.
So when you say local, you mean where you currently are living? You
Yeah,
just say, hey,
like
do you
if
know of a
you
yoga
go
retreat?
practice, I mean, usually you would have a practice before you just kind of went on a retreat. I would think.
This is true. Yeah.
I don't know. Some people might just want to go. But yeah, then I would probably ask like what kind of places are suggested, just because I'm so skeptical by nature that I would want someone to vouch for a certain program,
Okay, the area or
versus
program?
just like looking it up and seeing, because there's so many.
This is true.
It's such a, I mean, I don't want to say like yoga's a moneymaker, because I know that's like a big controversy within like the yoga community, but yeah, you would want kind of someone to vouch for it. I would say with almost any kind of class that
Okay.
that can have, that is monetizing. So
you basically, if you're looking, regardless of whether it's yoga or if you just want to go like horseback riding somewhere, you would find someone local who could suggest an area that is within your one-tank trip.
Yeah, I
area?
think that helps. I mean, I would probably research a little bit first, but then I would say, like, oh, I found this one, and this one. Like, do you suggest B over C, or however they kind of look at it? Because usually, the yoga community is not, like, nasty to each other, where they're, like, in competition. So I think you would get, like, a truthful answer.
Okay, so that's great for anyone who's looking and they want to get an idea of any type of activity.
Yeah.
Look locally and ask locally, and then sort of go from there.
Right, and
With
because
your
it is all
research.
local, it's not impossible for someone to have gone to any of these locations.
Exactly. So I think at this time, I think we should take a moment and look at your clip, and
Okay.
then we'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm Lauren Hard, and this is One Tank Trips.
For those budget-conscious, adventurous types who like to fly by the seat of their pants, like me, this is your show. We are going to explore some neighborhood gems and hidden spots that only the locals may know.
Coming up next, we'll show you some great weekend getaway deals that are just around the corner.
Imagine what you can do with extra time and money that you save from not purchasing a plane ticket. Every city has something to offer, and LA is, well, I guess the technical term would be ginormous.
So Ida, what do you do when you have a couple days off?
Well, because we're lucky enough to live in sunny California and LA, we're close to all the beaches. It's really easy to just pretty much take a 20-minute drive or less and go to the beach.
What do you like to do if you take a couple days off locally?
Locally, I like to find a nice hotel close by, somewhere along the beach, with a dog beach preferably, and then I'll just take a couple days and hang out.
Where are the best dog beaches?
Huntington Beach has a couple of good ones, and Long Beach, so just a little bit south you can find a lot of good dog beaches.
Flying today is nothing short of a nightmare. You pay extra for luggage, wait in line to be violated by the TSA, and then get cramped into a seat that offer 0 legroom with a baby who refuses to sleep. I've been there. Every city has their special hangouts that everyone but the tourists knows about. We're here to uncover them.
Whether it's Shutters on the Beach, Casa del Mar, or the Viceroy, Santa Monica has great luxury hotels that offer staycation packages.
When you book a hotel nearby, upgrade to that luxury suite, break into the mini fridge, buy a movie, and for God's sake, get that in-room massage. Many hotels offer packages that bundle these experiences together.
Do you have any kind of staycation tips or anything that you do when you have a couple days off?
I got a place that I go to so often, and it's called a resort, and it looks like the south of Spain and the south of France. No one knows where it's at.
Is it worth it? Vacationing is about relaxation and being served and pampered. But what few realize is that you don't have to go far to experience it. Today on One Tank Trips, we are going to explore the joys of staycationing. You'll be amazed at the places you can find off the beaten path and on the outskirts of any major city.
All you need for an incredible experience is a full tank of gas and an open mind. Bye!
Hi, and welcome back. We just saw a clip of One Tank Trips, the TV episode, and that was great. Gives you sort of a variety of different things that you can see and do. And again, I just want to make sure that everyone knows where to catch your television series.
Okay, so it's onetanktripstv.com.
Okay.
So
And remember the TV
Yes.
after One Tank Trips. And it's
Yes.
trips, plural, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can take more than one, much more than one.
True,
trip, so,
true.
Yeah.
So they can see it at onetanktrips.com, and then you mentioned earlier that Vimeo and
It's on YouTube as well,
YouTube.
and then there's a website called Trending Shows, and they have a number of web series on there, and this is one of them. So
great. Okay, so if everyone knows how to watch the show. So I have a question for you. What has been your favorite One Tank Trip, and why?
What's been my favorite? I would say Red Bank so far, just because it is, like I said, it's a shore town, but it's got like a different vibe to it than the typical shore town. It's not like, I don't know, a DJ's of Belmar or something like that, like a fist pumping club. So it's like a little
Oh.
bit different, and it has like the chocolate store, and then Bon Jovi owns a restaurant there, and you can pay like what you can afford, but it's not really like a soup kitchen because the management
The
will put
restaurant?
you
Oh, okay.
they'll put you to work afterward
Oh.
if but they won't like put you on the spot like, oh, go dress like the dish guy before you sit down for dinner. So like they'll feed you, and then like afterward they'll like utilize your skills, I guess.
Oh.
So then that's kind of like part of, a big part of the Red Bank community. And
And what do you know the name of the restaurant?
I think it's JB Soul Kitchen is the name of it.
Soul
So
Kitchen. Okay.
it's kind of a little hidden that it's owned by,
Bon Jovi.
But-
That's so cool though. So how did you come upon that restaurant, or is it sort of a well-known secret if you live in the area?
I don't think it's really that well known. It's pretty new. It's like 2 years old, I would say.
Okay.
So I guess it was just word of mouth that I heard about it, and I saw like a report when it was first opened, and then I reached out to one of the managers, and he was like, explained all about the restaurant just in case I had any kind of misinformation, which I didn't really, but he just wanted to make sure.
Right.
But I just think the concept is really cool, and it's not one where you kind of feel like, I've never had to wait in line at a soup kitchen, but I think you could have like a feeling of powerlessness if you're just going there and you're like, oh, well, what's next? But the manager told me that it's turned into a networking opportunity for a lot of people that go. Because
I see.
if you're out of work and you like just start talking to the person next to you.
That's
Yeah.
such a wonderful idea. So that's one of the restaurants in Red Bank, and you also mentioned that there's a chocolate shop as well.
Yes.
So what's so special about this chocolate shop?
Well, it's owned by this woman, and it's been there for, I think it's 15 years. I don't want to have the wrong number, but I think that's right. But I know that there's a particular pretzel, and she said that these food bloggers will drive hours to come get it, and it's just it's got peanut butter inside, and then it's dipped in chocolate, but it's just become this kind of a cult classic for a blogger community.
Wow, okay, I can understand why you like Red Bank. There's good food. You get to go to Bon Jovi's, restaurant.
Yeah,
You
and
get to
there's
go to
a
the
theater
chocolate.
there too. So yeah, it has like a lot, I think, to offer.
Oh, okay. All
and it's
right.
not that far because it's a one-tank trip.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. We have about a minute and a half left. And is there anything you want to leave us with today?
I guess, check out the series, and I'm obviously open to any kind of suggestions, and, if you have an open mind, there could be adventure just around the corner. So
That's wonderful. And how can people get in touch with you? Is that on your website?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can just fill out the form and then it emails me. So
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we hope to see you next time. And thank you so much for being with us.
thank you for having me.